Three, two, one.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to the In My Element podcast. It's your host, Ezequiel Campos. And today, I am super stoked. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. I have an amazing friend of mine coming by. And someone I'm inspired by, a creative entrepreneur, all sorts of genius in his mind when it comes to design, and just has an amazing eye for a lot of things. So I feel like this conversation is going to add so much value to everyone out there, whether you're starting something or doing something or in the midst of doing something. So without further ado, I want to welcome my boy, my man, M.A., MarcAndrew.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
You hyped me up there, huh?
I had to, bro. I had to. People got to know.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, man.
People got to know, bro. How's your day been? Good?
It's good, bro.
Chilling?
Busy? Yeah, chilling. Prioritizing rest, I think, is important.
I think we all need that these days.
Intentional rest. But
Intentional.
Yeah, intentional rest, yeah.
I feel
don't confuse someone's free time with their availability, you know what I mean?
Sheesh. Thank you for being available,
yeah,
bro.
Of course. Hey, for you, man, you ask and I'm there. I'm there, bro.
I think it's important that you said that, because many times, I mean, again, we can always be like, hey, are you free? Are you free? I was like, I'm not free, but I'm available. Yeah. And I think that says a lot about someone, you know, with their time and stuff. And then also finding, having a conversation with someone earlier this week, talking about rest and boundaries within that, because we can live in a culture that's go-getter and hustle, but then it's like, cool, but how are you really doing?
Yeah, that's an important question.
And if you're not really setting up those, I guess, boundaries within that, I think it can get ugly. So I think
it's all about boundaries. I think
you even saying that is kind of dope.
Yeah,
bro. Met you how long ago?
Oh man, it's
what is it? 2 years ago? Since
maybe 2.5 years.
Church?
Yeah, it's a long time, huh?
Oceanside.
Wow, 2.5 years. Yeah, because I moved here.
3
years ago.
What brought you? Because you're originally from Canada.
Yeah, Canadian born and raised, Holland up north.
Canada, yeah.
Canada, A. Yeah.
What part of Canada are you from, bro?
I'm from Nova Scotia, Halifax. It's on the East Coast. So if you picture Maine, a couple hours more north, and you're there. But yeah. It's cold up there, man.
Born and raised in the streets of Halifax.
Yeah, exactly. The streets of the lobster fishermen and the donairs.
How was it? I mean, it was completely different. I mean, we're now in South Florida, bro. I mean, for people that are listening to now, context-wise, South Florida is amazing, I think, but it's hot, it's humid, and you kind of transitioning from a cold place like Canada, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it snows, right?
Yeah, of course.
What brought you down here in the beginning? Like, what was why move from?
I mean, I spent my whole life up until 23, growing up there, living there. I mean, it's not a super small town, but it definitely is compared to down here.
It's like homey. It's like everyone kind of knows each other.
People just drop in, you know. People know each other. Like, I can see old high school friends if I'm walking down the street. I say walking down the street, but I'm not walking, bro. It's too cold. But yeah, I think what led me to kind of make that decision in my life, that turning point, was I just reached a spot where I was comfortable. And I think I don't know about others, but I don't like to be comfortable. I think any point when I'm comfortable, a little alarm goes off.
You're very self-aware about that when you get to a comfortable place, which is interesting because a lot of people are not, or a lot of people, it takes a while for them to then be aware of that. Yeah. So you noticed you were comfortable at that moment.
I was comfortable with kind of, like when you're growing up and you're going to school and you're thinking about a career path and all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of it obviously has to do with the influences around you. So 100%. Your parents' friends, the mentors you have, the older friends you have, you kind of see what they do. And there's almost this like mold where, you know, you go to school, you go to college, you pick a career path, and you do that for the rest of your life.
That's the norm, right? That's
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what, not that that's bad. A lot of people do that and they're happy and you know, good for them. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is that I was following that mold, not knowing that I didn't fit, you know? Like, I was following it because I thought that it was the only thing to do.
That was the only way to do it out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as soon as I graduated from high school, like, I picked a college. I went into a science degree, actually, right off the bat. I did that for a little bit, kind of bounced around a bit, and finally landed on a business degree, which I graduated from. Thank you, God.
Let's go.
At
least someone did it.
Yeah. Come on. No, and I graduated from that, but the truth is a lot of people set that goal of, oh, when I graduate college and I get that degree, I'm set. Like, that's it. But bro, I found when I graduated that degree, it's like, now what, you know?
You weren't fulfilled.
It's almost like
you checked it off your list, but okay, what next, right?
Exactly. So I think at that point is what I'm describing my comfortability as, is that, you know, you get that degree, you get that schooling, and you grow up to think that, hey, I've got this education, I've got this future set up for myself, but why do I still feel like I'm not, you know, really fitting? Like, it's almost like, okay, I'm comfortable with what I have and I'm good, you know, education wise, but nothing's really challenging me anymore. Like,
you were looking for something more, like there has to be more than this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, for me, I'm a learner. So like, I always love to, you know, be reading or watching videos. Exactly. Hands-on, learning new things. So once I graduated, there was nothing more for me to learn. It was just like, okay, now you're going to go and find a job. And there was a couple of experiences that I went through at that time as well that kind of led me to almost reevaluate where my value and where my happiness was in. And was it in a degree? Was it in a certain job? Was it in that mold of, you know, follow these steps and you'll be successful?
The constraints of that.
You know, like grow up, have 2.5 kids, a house with white picket fence, you know?
This 2.5
like,
kids.
This is the average of like kids in North America that families have.
Yeah.
But I don't, like, a lot of people don't fit in that thing, you know, in that mold. So I wasn't. It's funny because I say I was comfortable, but I also was uncomfortable. But I think the moral of the story is I got to a spot where I was ready for something else.
Change needed to happen.
Yeah. And what happened is I needed to physically get out of the spot I was in to mentally get out of the spot I was in.
Woo. Say that again. You had to physically.
So what I needed to do was I needed to physically remove myself from the place I was in to get out of the mental rut that I had created for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't that the truth, bro? So that essentially you being uncomfortable with your comfort, right? Led you to, okay, Miami.
Yeah.
Why Miami?
Down here, I already established a good friend group. One of my best friends had moved down here to go to school. So I had come down here a couple of times.
Okay, so you had visited prior.
Yeah, visited and just kind of hung out, but it was all like more like vacation.
Yeah, trips and whatnot.
But basically I had already kind of established a community down here a little bit. So when I was applying to different schools, just to backtrack a little bit, I had started applying for fashion design programs.
So sick.
Because during that time that we were just talking about, I discovered that one of my hobbies actually could, you know, lead me into a career path. So I had started applying for different fashion design schools. I applied for, I think, a couple different ones. But the one I got accepted to first and the one where it went smoothly was down here in Miami.
Okay.
So I kind of knew that that's where I was supposed to be.
Doors were opening here.
Exactly.
So you're like, you know what? I think this is it. This is where I'm going to send it to.
And I was told, a couple of years ago now by a mentor I have in Canada, that if doors are open down a hallway, you keep walking. So if they're open, just keep walking. If they close, don't try and open them, just let them close. So I'm just going to keep walking down that hallway, and during that time I was just going to keep walking until a door shut. So as I'm going, the doors kept opening for me to move down here to Florida and attend this fashion design school that I went to. And I ended up turning a hobby of mine into, something that's more of a career. And honestly, I get so much more fulfillment out of doing something that I enjoy and that I'm passionate about as a job, rather than some random degree that a mold told me I should have,
So you come to Miami, which already takes a lot of planning, a lot of, obviously you're already set on, I don't fit in this mold, right?
Yeah.
You're already aware of that. You're like,
yeah.
Now Miami is somewhere where you had friends, you had one of your best friends that moved down here. It makes it more feasible, but doors were also open, so you take that. Even taking that step, man, that's a drastic one, I think.
Yeah.
So for me to even hear that from you, I think it's ballsy. Like it takes courage and
I was scared, man. It was a risk.
It's what if it doesn't work out? But
exactly.
What if?
Right.
You also make music.
Yeah, that's yeah. We can get into that a little bit.
You also make music. How many bands are you a part in right now?
Three technically.
You're part of three bands. You're consistently
3 or 4.
You fail to amaze sometimes, and this is me just being completely honest, not just because you're my friend.
Yeah.
Like, you are sick, bro. Like, you are really good, bro.
I appreciate
you are
it.
really good. And I'm just like, yo, this man really does this. And you could be very humble about it too, because again, you do this so much at church. You play for 3 bands, and you love it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you're really not the guy to be like, oh, I'm this next level drummer. I have this 5 course. No. Like, you're not that guy.
Yeah.
But me just stepping back and seeing that, man, like, dude, you are sick.
Thank you.
You're
bro.
really sick.
And
then just seeing you still kind of doing it with Pillowcase, which is one of the bands, right?
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's Sunset on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
And then it's music.
Colive.
Colive.
It's a guy from New York who's kind of a solo project, so I do some drumming sometimes on his stuff.
And you try, and music is similar or different? Like
all 3 are very different. I think for me, that's kind of why I love doing it, is because it's 3 almost completely different genres.
3 different sounds. Does it
exactly?
One challenges you more than the other,
Yep.
sure. And
yeah, exactly. And I think it helps me grow definitely as a drummer. And I think also the relationships I build throughout, like some of the people I make music with are some of my best friends, like
Facts.
in my wedding. And and I'm also learning, like, it helps me learn different cultures and different lifestyles, because I think a lot of expression comes through music.
Yeah.
And just watching how certain people write and certain people put words together, and then being able to match people's words with instruments, I think is a really cool process. And I think for me, it's just an expression of definitely what I'm feeling inside, and also I think anything I'm passionate about, bro, I just enjoy doing, to be honest.
No, really, I see you in your element. I see you in your.
It's hard to explain,
pocket, in your pocket though. But if you haven't seen this man play drums, you will notice right away that's his. Like, he enjoys it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just trying to play well, but you enjoy it, and you notice it, and you see it, and that I think there's nothing cooler than that, because you could be the best drummer in the world but look miserable. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But when you enjoy something, I think it sparks. I don't know. It sparks people to be like, man, like if I do anything, I want to do it like that. With that type of energy, with that type of, and like you said, it's just an expression for you to, express whatever it is that you're feeling, or maybe it's just a moment where you can go away from the outside world in the moment.
Yeah.
But you grew up playing drums, or no? Was that something you picked up later on?
I kind of grew up around it. My dad was a drummer, actually.
Sick. Generational.
Exactly. Yeah. So I grew up watching him play and watching drum videos with him. He would always watch like live concerts at home, and he'd have a couple favorite drummers that he'd watch. So I grew up around it for sure. And I'd get like, my mom has pictures of me like getting all the pots and pans on the kitchen floor
And just
with the wooden spoons and, you know, so it was always something that was ingrained in me as a young kid. But I really kind of made it my own, maybe around like 15, 16.
You started actually playing.
I started, yeah, exactly. Like playing with other people and not just playing for fun, and starting to, you know, challenge myself to be better.
That's dope. Yeah. So I meet you. You're the drummer in our church. You're playing for these different bands. You're making music. In the midst of that, you are in fashion school.
Yes, sir.
And you launch your brand.
Yeah.
MarcAndrew.
My little baby, my project.
That's so fire. I remember us having a conversation at a coffee shop about that.
Yeah.
When you were kind of working on that, and you were planning it, and I was very interested in what that was gonna look like, and your take on it and why you did it, and the care I think you had for that, you know. And you were making it happen on your own. I think you were, you know, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure the website out. I'm gonna figure this.
Yeah.
And I had the honor of helping you in whatever way I could.
Yeah.
With the photos, which was dope. Thank you for that. But what sparked that light bulb? You know what? I think it's time for me to, you know, I've been doing music, I've been drumming, and I'm in fashion. But what was a catalyst? I think it's time for me to.
I think what pushed me to do that the most was in the first couple semesters of school. They really teach you kind of why you're creating what you're creating. And for me, I always wanted, if I were to create something, if I were to, you know, have a fashion house or a fashion brand, I think it would be to solve a problem. I think because I don't want my creativity to just look cool.
You don't just slap a logo on any t-shirt.
Yeah, like you can just get Photoshop on your phone and do that in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to actually,
Facts.
If I'm going to put my all into it, if I'm going to put my heart into what I'm making, I want it to not just impact me, but impact someone who wears it. So what I had as a goal in mind for that was to find, you know, basically not necessarily a problem, but find something that, you know, was missing in the fashion world and kind of be that solution. So what I did was I started with myself. Like
what you would wear, what you
exactly.
were wearing, what you were trying to.
They always talk about having a muse. And a muse is basically someone who you design and you're inspired by and you design for. And I think I have a couple, but I think one of them is obviously designing what I like to wear. Now, on the contrary, they teach you in fashion school to not do that because not everyone's going to like what you like, right?
True.
So that's why I have more than one.
Okay.
Because I always created stuff that I liked. I think any creative is driven to do that.
Yeah, you stem from what you're attracted to, from what you.
It's hard to do stuff that you don't necessarily like. I think any creative can speak to, you know, putting something out there that you're not 100% okay with. I think that's pretty difficult. So in the beginning, I was creating stuff that I liked. Like I like sportswear, I like activewear, but I always hated the elastic band at the bottom of a hoodie. You know what I mean?
That, yeah.
It always bunched up the shirts that I was wearing. It always made it look like a little like cheerleader skirt coming out of the bottom of my hoodie, you know?
100%.
So that was the first problem I was going to solve. So those are the problems I'm speaking of. It's just little annoyances that I didn't like to wear.
That you were noticing on your end. Yeah,
exactly. And I ran the idea by a couple different people, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. Like, I want to see how that looks.
What does that look like? Because I hadn't seen anything like that yet.
Exactly. So what I did was I invested a little bit, bought a sewing machine, and then just with one of my old hoodies, I cut the elastic band off, and I started experimenting different ways to kind of make it lay flat and make it lay straight. And I think in that time, bro, I had the most joy I'd ever had. Taking something and making it something else, I think is one of the most fun things you can ever do. And I think as creatives, there's a lot of opportunities to do that. And I think you should look for those opportunities because something new doesn't necessarily have to be brand new.
Ooh, that's so good. And you hit also on a great point, which is obviously you investing in yourself, but you also, if anything, creativity is solving an issue.
Yeah.
Like I feel like everyone's creative. Not everyone's artistic, obviously, but I feel like everyone's creative.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
I 100% agree.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at an issue and I'm gonna solve this problem on my end.
Yeah.
But still with the uncertainty, are people gonna like it? Are people not gonna like it? But you didn't care.
No. Honestly, ultimately, I was making something for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bro, it'd be so funny. I'd be in my little room. I was going to school, like one little room. My sewing machine. I'd have class at 8 a.m. Miami traffic. I have to leave at 6. So it's like
that sucks.
I'd be up and like get 2 hours of sleep and still be so happy, even though I was so tired, because I knew that things were progressing and I made something that I was, or on the track of making something I was proud of, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's, you're right. It's a lot of people, a lot of creatives,
would have stopped there. Would have stopped at you creating that. And sorry to cut you off, but
no.
What I mean is
You're
a lot of people doing anything would have stopped at that process. Like, this is just gonna be for me.
Yeah.
You know, but you didn't do that. Why?
No. I don't think as creatives we'll ever be able to make a difference by only focusing on ourselves. You know?
Facts.
A lot of people do that, and that's amazing. And a lot of people are creative as a hobby, and you know, they make their own clothes, or they make their own stuff, and just so they don't have to buy stuff themselves. But I think the difference comes when you want to be kind of selfless with what you're creating, and you want almost like test the waters and see kind of if other people are feeling the same way as you. More times than not, at least maybe I would say 3 out of 5 people are feeling the same way as you. Creatively, sorry. Because I don't think we can be so naive to think that we're the only ones with certain problems, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
no,
I think,
I agree with it.
and you're never going to know if you don't take that risk.
Yeah, but that's what I was getting at. You if you're not willing to take that risk,
Yeah.
do you ever, go beyond that? And I think for you is you were having fun with the process of solving your problem. You were enjoying that puzzle, right? Like, does this work? Does this not work? But then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna launch this first collection.
I think what pushed me to do that is that I was sharing like my ideas with my friends. And for me, like, I'm always my own worst critic, bro. I'm always my own worst critic.
For your perfectionist,
yeah.
You want things to be as good as they can.
And a lot of times that's my downfall. I'm going to be honest with you. And I think anyone who expects happiness to come from perfection is just going to be disappointed all the time. Like, you can't just, you can't strive to be perfect all the time. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But I think what allowed me to kind of share it with other people was just my friends pushing me to do it, man. I think it's so important to have that community around you that pushes you to do what you're passionate about. They would see pictures and they would see different things that I'd be talking about, like, yo, I want one of those. Yo, can you do my hoodie like that? I remember so when I first started doing it, I was at this party. I think it was like a Thanksgiving party or Halloween party. It was in like October, November. And someone was like, yo, I saw the way you did your hoodie. Can you do mine? And I'll show it to you. But there's this picture of me sitting in the corner. Everyone else is happy, dancing and having fun. And I'm just sitting there with a razor blade cutting up this dude's hoodie.
In the middle of a party.
In the middle of a party. And bro, I was more happy doing that than anything else I could have been doing at that party. And I think when you separate yourself and sometimes, be a little different or not really care and block out the noise. Like, I was blocking out the noise of that party, and I was like, yeah, like, someone wants me to do this to their hoodie. I was so stoked, bro.
Why not? Yeah.
And that's one of the moments when I realized, okay, I got to start allowing other people to take part in my passion. Wow.
That's so cool though. Like, even the thought of that that issue you're talking about with the hoodie, because most hoodies have that elastic band, and you even being aware of that issue and be like, you know what, I don't know if I've been the first one with the idea, but I haven't seen anything like that, so I'm gonna do it regardless.
Right. Well, think about how many different styles. You can only make a hoodie so many different ways, you know.
Unless you take out the hoodie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think fashion has got to a point now where, you know, there's enough styles of T-shirts and enough styles of hoodies that you can pretty much.
Like, what else? What's another silhouette?
Exactly.
Right? What's another thing you can create? So you start with this hoodie, and you're in the middle of that, and you start creating your brand. You start logo, website.
Yeah.
You launch, and it's super dope, because the first thing I see in your website, sunflower. Yeah. I was like,
yeah, I love flowers, man.
Sunflower. Why a sunflower?
Sunflower is very special to me. It's gonna sound sappy, but I don't care.
Dude.
I think sunflower is something that's always caught my eye, not necessarily because of its beauty, and because of its resiliency. Because I don't know if you know, but sunflowers are one of the longest lasting flowers. And the importance of a sunflower to me is that it's always pointing towards the light, and it's always pointing towards the sun. And another fact about sunflowers is they can grow pretty much anywhere.
Interesting. I had no idea about that.
So when
I'm
I
not
first,
a big flower guy.
that's okay, bro. I'll bring you some flowers.
Pause.
Yeah.
Enter the flowers. I'm just kidding.
But when I was doing my research and I was doing, you know, creating different mood boards and figuring out kind of what I wanted my brand to be centered on, sunflower kept coming back to me, because I'd see these pictures of concrete jungles like New York, Chicago, and sunflowers just growing in the cracks of concrete.
That's so crazy.
And to me, it was a testament to, okay, no matter what scenario you're in, no matter what atmosphere you find yourself in, there's still room to grow. And I think
that's powerful.
And I think the important thing to remember is that no matter where you are, you can grow. No matter what you're going through, you can still grow from it. I don't think tell me if I'm wrong, but if there was no rain, I don't think anything would grow.
I'm with you on that one.
You know what I mean?
I'm not a scientist, but I'm with you on that one, because plants need
but
nurturing water.
And I think the importance of a sunflower is that it grows anywhere, but it also points towards the light. So as it goes throughout its day, the head of the sunflower follows the sun. So for me, that was the perfect almost branding or metaphor that I wanted to be attached to what I did. Obviously a sunflower is beautiful, but I wanted the message to be, no matter what you're going through, no matter what your day looks like, no matter what your week looks like, you can still grow, and just keep yourself focused on the light, focus on what's good, what's happening in your life that brings you joy. You know, focus on God, focus on your faith and your family. And I think as long as we do that, Zeke, I don't see anything going wrong.
Man, that's powerful. And that's so good, because that symbol, I mean, again, a guy like me can see the sunflower and be like, okay, that's dope, but what does that mean? And you even explaining that, the why behind why you're doing it, and the meaning it has to you, but also the meaning of a sunflower, I think that is always pointing to the light. And circling, you're bringing it back to the point of, at the end of the day, for me, it's a reminder, and I want this brand to be a reminder,
right?
That when it rains, when it pours, and when things are not going, when there's cracks in the ground and you feel like things are not going your way, you can still persevere and grow through that.
Right. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And that is, man, that's powerful.
Yeah. And it also mirrored like kind of, you know, different life experiences I went through. So I wanted it to be a reminder that, like, you know, keep your head up without being too sappy, like,
because you're not a sappy guy.
Nah, I don't think I'm that emotional or sappy, but
no, but
you know
you aren't, but yet again here you're being very vulnerable about what that even means to you.
Well, because I want what I create to touch someone personally. Like, I don't want it to just look cool. Like, Zeke, I promise you, if you ever see me make something because it just looks cool, tell me and I'll shut everything down. I never want to be someone who just chases, clout or chases the next trend.
Yeah.
I want to be the person who creates something that someone has a personal connection with, that can even change their day, can, remind them that different things that are important, And I think that there's a space to do that through fashion. I really do.
Crazy. I mean, I'm just trying to intake everything
Yeah.
that you're saying and the process of that.
Like, I don't want a hoodie or a pair of pants or something to just look cool.
We're going back to the conversation we were having. You anyone can slap a logo in any T-shirt, but like that's not the point of why you're doing that. You know, it has to matter to you and the purpose behind that, and that's why even having you on here, I think that's what I wanted to understand first, also, and get to know that a little more on your end. But there's so much value in that because we live in a world again that's chasing the next fling, that's chasing the next
very
trend,
true.
and don't get me wrong, like God bless people that find that fulfillment in that, but that doesn't last very long, So when you're creating something that really means something to you, and it goes beyond, a fabric, in your sense, and there's impact behind it, and there's a why, I'm pretty sure you feel 100 times more fulfilled with that.
Definitely.
And even you launching that, I remember you seeing the hoodies and stuff like that, and actually like feeling that. I'm like, this is legit. Like, that thing was nice. Like, it didn't fit me because I'm not a medium. But
hey, man, you got a custom on the way, bro.
But I'm running that.
No worries. No worries.
I might fit into a small now. Who knows?
I believe it.
I believe it. Just be like the sunspot.
Yeah. Just point towards the light, Zeke.
Bro, but I remember seeing it. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. And just seeing the physical, right? Having the physical hoodie and in my hand. That one time we were taking pictures of it. And, at least on mine, I'm like, man, there's a vision that was in someone that's not here.
Yeah.
It's not just, and it wasn't just a logo slapped on a hoodie. It was thought through. It was QC'd, and it was, also solving an issue. Yeah. As you layer that hoodie, it's, and if you know anything about fashion, you can wear a oversized shirt, and it's not gonna scrunch it up. Or
exactly.
It looks cool. It looks dope.
Yeah, it's made to be paired with.
Yeah, and you made it in like a bone.
It's like a bone kind of cream color.
Very, very minimalistic, and then a black one, which black goes with everything. Super cool.
Everything.
And I'll put the link in the bio, and if you can see it, super cool. I mean, I don't know if you have any left, but if you don't,
no, man, I mean, they went quick.
You'll have to wait for the next one.
Yeah,
but that was amazing, bro. That was so good.
I think you said an important thing that I don't wanna miss. Yeah. Is that basically, I think, and this is important for creatives to hear, what's in your head can be something physical, and I think that's part of the beauty of being creative. Is I had an idea, and I think the thing that made me persevere and continue with what I was doing was because my ideas were taking a physical form. And for me, I'm a very analytical person. I'm in my head like a lot, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there.
I'm the same way.
But I think for me, it was almost therapeutic to have something where I could express what was going on inside my head in a physical thing that I could feel and touch.
To visibly see it.
Yeah.
In form.
Exactly.
Wow. And that's important you say that, because as creatives, millions of ideas come to our head.
Yeah.
Or anyone out there starting a business, ideas can come in and out, but what are you actually executing? And are you willing to pay the price to visibly see that come to life?
Exactly.
Which you said, I had to invest in a sewing machine. I had to invest in having time to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're having joy in it, but there's a process. Once that hoodie comes out, there's been a huge process on the back end.
Huge, man. I don't think anything
years
worth
behind it or whatever, that you've gone through that.
Yeah, and I don't think anything worth doing is ever easy.
I agree with that.
Like, I want whatever I create, my goal is to make it outlast me. Like, I don't want stuff I create to live and die with me. And I think in order to do that, you're going to have more bad days than good. You're going to have more risky days, quote unquote, than safe days.
Yeah.
But man, if you're willing to put in the time and put in the risk and sometimes hit pause, you know, it's healthy to sometimes hit pause. Like right now I'm in a season of pause and just researching and learning, but I think that's important if you really want what you're creating to last, you know.
To reset and to take time away. I think I haven't always been the greatest at that. I think going from sometimes project to project or you know, idea to idea, and I think it's very important to step back sometimes and kind of see, okay, what's the next thing I want to create? Because if you wanted to, you can create 1 million pieces. You know fashion very well. You know what looks good and what doesn't. You know, I mean, we've had conversations. It's like, what do you think about this? And I might think I think this is the next trend. You're like, oh, that's been out for the longest time. This is just you here.
Done, yeah.
You're like, that person looks like a pillowcase.
Hey man, like, don't out me on your podcast, bro.
No, but I love having conversations like, because I'm an enthusiast.
Yeah.
I'm what's it called? I love the outside of fashion. Like I love seeing cool fits, you know, but I don't know anything about it. So I come to you and I'm like, what do you think about this? Or does this look good? And then you'll tell me so many different things that in my mind is when I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Okay. But then now seeing you create, it's completely different. Right. Because it's what you like you were saying, you want it to outlast you, and you also want to create impact within that.
Yeah.
Any advice, man? I think what would you say to anyone out there that's probably in fashion or maybe not in fashion, finding a new idea, or maybe it's afraid to put a piece out because they might not think it's something great? Or
as artists and as creatives, you're always going to deal with self-criticism. Like, I don't think there was one artist out there that wasn't worried when they first released a piece of artwork or a piece of music or anything like that. I think we need to almost be confident in what we're doing. I think the best advice that I ever got was be yourself. And I know that's cliche, and I know everyone says that. But as soon as you understand that,
so true.
And as soon as you understand, hey, what's important to me, what speaks into my life, what adds to my life, as soon as you get those influences, your self-worth and your self-confidence will grow, and you'll be confident, and you'll believe in yourself, and you'll have the confidence to release what you created into the world. It's a scary thing, believe me. Like something that you've been working on in your bedroom late at night and secretly sometimes, and you don't let anyone see because maybe you're, self-conscious or embarrassed of it.
100%.
But there's such a freedom, bro, when you release that and you see people and you just let it go and you see people's reactions. I don't think any criticism is bad criticism. Even with stuff I do, I've gotten stuff back where it's like, oh, I don't think that really works and whatever. And I love that. I think I love the more negative criticism than I do the good, because then I take that and I make it better.
Yeah.
So I think that will help ease the risk. Like if you're out there and you're worried about, oh, what if people don't like it? What if it's not good enough?
Expect that you're saying.
Exactly. Let me tell you, if I felt completely confident and completely ready in what I was designing and what I was making, you would never see anything from me in my whole life. Because like you said before, I fall under this label of like perfectionist, where, man, you could refine things until
1,000,000 times.
You could refine things till your kids have kids. Like,
there's always room for improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think, quote unquote, ready, I don't think really exists. I think once you have an idea, take that risk. Throw it out there.
Make it happen.
You're going to have bombs. Stuff is going to suck. Stuff is going to be good. But you're never going to know what's good and what you like to do unless you try it.
Let it go and you try it.
Like you just have to take that risk. Put stuff out there. And don't be afraid if you think people aren't going to like it. I mean, I don't think everyone in the world's going to like what you do. I think that's a big lie, and I don't think we can have that pressure on us.
That's
a
different podcast, but it's really true.
Exactly. I don't think we can have that pressure on us.
Yeah.
So as soon as you let go of that pressure, be selfless, be confident in what you do. And but yeah, if I can speak to anyone out there, I think, you know, whatever you're doing, if it's from your heart or if it's from if you're passionate about it, honestly and truly, I think it's beautiful. And I think, you know, if you need to hear this, I think it's time. Like, you're ready to take that risk, and we'll be cheering you on from here, right, Zeke?
Sure. If there's any way to end that, that's amazing.
But,
thank you, bro.
yeah,
Thank you again for coming by. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being someone that's always willing to have challenging conversations about anything creative, and
of course, man,
just being who you are, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you guys for listening. I hope this added so much value. It added so much value to me right now. I feel encouraged. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the In My Element podcast. We're in every platform: Spotify, Apple, on YouTube. And where can people find you, bro?
You can find me. I'm on Instagram. That's really the only social media I do. You can go to my Twitter's full of one-liners if you want to see some of those.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Twitter. What's your handle?
It's MarcAndrew1, Mark with a C, and then Instagram it's MarcAndrew_Benwell. But yeah, I kind of stick to those two because everything else is just noise to me, to be honest.
Dope. So I'll link those on the bottom. And again, thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you,
for
Zeke.
this.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for listening. If you're still here, you're the real MVP. If you made it this far.
If you made it to the end.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.